If you're under the age of 18, the content of this video is not intended for you. Please stop watching now. Hey YouTube, it's Audrey, and I'm here to share with you some things that I have been doing over the past few weeks. I know I have not done a lot of videos lately. There have been just so many things going on in life with work, with family, so I really haven't had a lot of time to do crafting. But the last couple weekends, this past weekend I was had purchased a virtual event from Pink Fresh Studios, and I wasn't able to participate live for the most part with the crafting. And so that one I still have to do. But the weekend before last was the granddaddy Mac Daddy top dog of all the card making virtual events. It was the Scrapbooking and Cards Today Crop and Create Delivered. Now, if you have not heard of that virtual event, it really is the biggest and the best. It's 4 days. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And with this particular one this year, there was only one card making one. And it was 16 classes and 2 mini classes. So there were 4 classes a day. And the classes were 2 hours, and then there was usually a kickoff of some sort and a wrap up every night. So literally you were in these classes all day from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And depending on your time, that was Eastern time. So you had half an hour in between the first 2 classes, and then an hour and a half in between the dinner, before the last class, and then you had a wrap up. Whew, it was intense, but it's so much fun. I recommend it to anybody, and my girl Veronica VLB Allen 1 joined in on the fun this time for the first time, and she said she is hooked. Shantae, Simply Shantae, also participates in this particular virtual event. Now, last year they had a spring one and a fall one, and I did purchase the spring one, but I had surgery, so I couldn't participate live. The fall one, what I did was I knew there was no way I was going to make all those cards, because each class you make 3 cards, and there were a couple classes that had bonus cards, so you made 4. So I knew there was no way that I was going to get all those done. So last fall, what I did was I picked a class each day and decided to do that. And I did do a video on that last year. So this time, my goal was to up that and get 2 classes done a day. I did that, although there were a few of the cards that I didn't actually finish until this past weekend. So I got it done within a week though. So I was quite happy with that, and I still have 7 classes left. And so I know that this is going to be a long video because I have already chit-chatted for 4 minutes, but I kind of wanted to give you a background, and I wanted to do this video because right now enrollment is open. You could purchase next year for the March one, and they're going to do 2 again next year. They're going to do 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall, 1 in March, 1 in September. Registration for the March one is open. It is about $80 cheaper this time because there will be it will only be 3 days, and there'll be fewer classes, but it's still going to be just as fabulous because then we get to do it in the fall and have another 3 days in classes. So anyway, if you want to sign up, go to the Scrapbooking and Cards Today website and it gives you all the classes, the teacher class descriptions, everything that you need to make a decision. And so hopefully by watching some of the cards and hearing about the vendors and things about this class, you will have enough knowledge to make a decision to see if you want to participate in March. Again, I would highly recommend it. So with each event, you get this big box of stuff, and I think this year's box weighed 14 pounds of crafting goodness. But with each of the ones that SCT offers, they give you some swag. And so they have, I guess, always giving you some sort of acrylic block in a different shape. This was the shape this time. And it has the Crop and Create Delivered card making on it. So you could use it as a stamp block. You could set it up if it was out of the paper. Just use it as a decoration. But they always give you one in a different shape. So this is the third one I have now. Then this year, they got custom colored handles of the Spellbinder scissors that they gave you for swag. And then they gave us a logoed Stamper's Secret Weapon, which helps you with your stamping. So that was the swag for this time. And then in each class packet, you get a class kit from each company. So I mentioned that there were 16 classes, and they're done by 16 different companies, well-known companies. And then also we had 2 mini classes. One was a mini class with alternate things and some of the other products from some of the other classes, and it had I'm talking too fast, a die and a stamp set, a smaller one for that one. And then you got 2 Olo markers, and the other mini class was an Olo marker demonstration with a printout that they gave us to practice with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the class kits as I did them, and this might end up being a part 1 and a part 2 because I have quite a few to go through. So if I see that this video is getting kind of long, which it's already at almost 8 minutes, I will probably stop and break it into 2. So these envelopes are envelopes that I got off of Amazon. And with this class, there is a Facebook group for this event. And people give so many helpful hints, suggestions on how to break up your classes. I mean, this event is totally organized. They send you emails. You get the list of what's supposed to be in your box. There's a form to fill out if something is missing or if something is damaged. People in the Facebook group give you suggestions on labels. Like some had labels that you could label what the class was and stick on here. One lady came up with one that I liked that I used because she had the name, the time, and she went and she did it for every time zone. Now, there were 3,200 or 3,400 people who participated from 23 different countries. So this lady did all the main time zones, and then she did a blank one that allowed you to put your own time zone in there. But she did them for each class, and she used the swatch colors that were provided for the inks, and the whole idea is you use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy every single solitary thing that the instructors were using. So you use what you have. And so with this one, it had the ink colors that the instructor uses or in some cases there were the Copic colors or the tri-blend marker colors or watercolors. And then this sheet gave you the opportunity to go through your stuff ahead of time and write down what you have that would match this. So like these were I believe Pink and Main inks. I don't have any of those, so I use Pink Fresh inks and Nouveau inks for my substitutions. And then I wrote those down so I knew. So I did that ahead of time. So everything comes in this big box they're separated out in clear bags or whatever bags. Some of the bags were pink, some provided a packet, an envelope of some type. But anyway, you get your box, you separate everything out, and you either put them in envelopes or however you want to do it. Plus, there is homework for almost every class. There were a couple that didn't, and I call it more prep work, but you had time to do that ahead of time so that when you get into class, we can focus on the crafting part. So if you did the homework ahead of time, you were well on your way to do the class. Sometimes if you're a speedy person, you could do your homework or craft along with the class, even though you didn't do your homework. So without further ado, let me keep going. Now for Pink and Main, it was the very first class on Thursday, and I had not had a chance to do any homework because of life and being busy. That's why I haven't been on, making videos or crafting much. So I got up a little early and I did some prep work, made card bases. And that's the other thing. This particular event, they provide you with all the paper that you need. You get 100-pound paper, you get 80-pound paper, you get a few sheets of black, a few sheets of craft, a few sheets of acetate, whatever the instructors request. And then some of them provide paper, pattern paper, or their own cardstock for you also, in addition to those basic colors. So anyway, this is Pink and Main's kit. This is the first day. I actually only did one of their cards. I watched and then I just prepped for the one. But this is what you get in the kit. You get sequins. There were 2 of these acetate covers to make shakers with. I got this stamp set. We got some enamel dots. We got this die set. This die set. This die set, and a paper pad. And then with Pink and Main, they provided an envelope, that storage envelope too. So that is what the kit contained. And again, there are 16 kits plus 2 mini kits. So that's just the first kit. So you can imagine that you got plenty of materials to play with and to keep playing with. And all of the things are unreleased at the time of the class. Now some will release them later. I know that I believe like Stamps of Life released theirs during this last week, and a couple other ones have released. Scrapbook.com released theirs. So but then some may not ever get released. But then some things, like last fall's class from Lawn Fawn, they just released that stamp a couple weeks ago from the one from a year ago. So it just depends on how long it will be or if it will ever come out. So anyway, this is the shaker card that I made. There are 2 other classes. As I said, each class has 3 cards, and a couple of them have 4 or more cards that you can make. But I chose to make this one, and I will go back and make the other ones. Now, all of the insides they don't finish the insides usually in the class. I did do a couple where they had put something on the inside, so I did mat the inside and put those things in there. So I think I did that with two. But this was so cute, and I have some of these full shaker covers and had never used them, so I wanted to try it out with this class. So that was my first card. Let me put these up here. Then the next class was tailored expressions that I did. There, like I said, I only did 2 a day. But I did tailored expressions, and again, I wrote out the ink substitutions and their notes. Her class also came with this storage pouch, and so for that particular class, we got 2 blending brushes, and I didn't use them because I have all the brushes for Pink Fresh already, which are the colors that I use, so I will save these for other inks. We got some sample color cards for trying different color combinations, so that was an extra that they put in. We got this die set and the stencils to make these words, and then this stencil. So that was the kit for tailored expressions. And then I will show you the cards. And while I'm putting this back in here, one of the other big bonuses of this particular event is that several of the vendors, plus some additional vendors, give discount codes for the participants. And we're talking that these discount codes, some of them last a month to a month and a half that you could use, and most of them allowed you to use them multiple times. Like there was one for scrapbook.com that, you know, I used a few times. You know, a lot of people use it to buy some of the things that instructors use, you know, things they've been waiting for. But that is a big bonus and a big plus for the attendees. So here are the cards that I made for the Tailored Expressions class. So we did stenciling and die cutting, and so this is the result. And again, they're not finished on the inside. And then there was this one where we did the stenciling and then some splatter. And then there was this one, which is a shaker. It says, hey, we managed to figure out how to line up. They told you how to line up the inside lines with the outside lines. And then, you know, we made a shaker. I used my own sequins, although there were some sequins from another class that I could use. So that was a fun class from Tailored Expressions. Next up, I did Lawn Fawn, and I absolutely loved these. With Lawn Fawn, you know, they have the little critters, and I know the very first Lawn Fawn from the spring one from last year, I didn't like what they offered. And that's the thing, you get so many different styles, techniques. You get to try things that you may not necessarily try. You get to decide if you like things or not. But here are scraps from, they provided some paper. But I got these two, and this stamp set this die goes with this stamp set. And then there was this die. this is a coming soon card. And then this was a stencil set. And with Lawn Fawn, we did some coloring with both inks and stencils, and then also with Copic markers, but I used Spectral Noir, not a colorer, and these were little things, so they were fun. So here are my cards from the Lawn Fawn class. Theirs was a Christmas class, and that's the thing, they're not all Christmas, they're not all fall. You got some sympathy, you got some birthday, you got a couple Christmas classes, you got some hey, hello, thank you classes or cards. So quite the variety. So this one, we colored in the little images here and here with Copic markers. Then we stamped the images. This was the Be Merry. We ink blended. Just a lot of fun techniques. That one was blank. This was the second one. And you had several different images of the little mice. And then on this one was one of the ones I finished because they were putting this on the inside, and I always have my cards matted on the inside, so I put a mat in there from my own collection and then added the pieces that they had us put in there. And then this is the last card, another version, and all of this we ink blended. I mean, the bees, those were all white cardstock that we ink blended. So we did like a rainbow ink blend. This one was all purple, but then she had us cut out Mary out of this paper here that has gold speckles. So then that Mary we put on top of the purple. And then this one we ink blended with a pink. And then we stenciled in the light strings. And again, Copic colored those lights and the mouse. So that was Lawn Fawn. Then we have Spellbinders. And with Spellbinders, we used distress inks, and this, when I originally saw these dies, I was like, you know, I love me some Spellbinders, y'all know I talk about Spellbinders all the time. And speaking of Spellbinders, I did do a video of the Spellbinders in person, one I went to, now it's almost a couple months ago, and I was having trouble with the video, so I will get that done. I just have to start all over again, and hopefully I could get that out to you soon too. But anyway, that's a side note. But when I first saw these, I was like, I don't know about this, because I'm not like a wildflower, field flower kind of person. But once I did the classes, there were different techniques. I have to admit, it wasn't as bad as I thought, and then I turned out to like them. So with this kit, we got some gems. We got a little stamp sentiments. We got this set, die set. We got the die set that is this bow and string. We got the field flower die, wildflower die set. And then we got this embossing folder. And then Spellbinders provided all of their own cardstock with all their colors that we needed. So that was a great kit. And then I will show you those. And as I said, this video is getting kind of long, so I believe this is going to be a part 1 and a part 2. So I will show you the 3 Spellbinders cards. So this is the first card. And with this one, we did some watercolor technique with that distressed oxide ink. We just wet it with a brush and then did brush strokes across the card. Then we cut out the flowers from the different cardstock. We did some inking and then used that wildflower embossing folder. And with almost all of these, we made card panels to go on top of the card. So with most of these, there are a couple that we did things directly on the cards with, but for most of the cards, they were panels, and then you put the panel onto a card. This was the second one, a different version. We ink blended, and then this was the bow from that die, and then some of the flowers. And then lastly, this card is kind of like a notebook kind of card. So we made the scissors and we glued the scissors down, but actually there's a brad there. So if you didn't want to glue them down, the scissors actually moved. But we built the pieces as like with most Spellbinders things. We cut out the cardstock and we built the pieces together. This is the whole bow with the string. Then you open it up like this, and there was another flower, another piece of the twine die, and another pencil. And then, you know, here we could mat it. You could decorate each side. But this card, she gave the measurements on how to cut and where to score. And then we rounded it with corner rounders. All right. So those are the first ones. I'm going to stop right there since we're almost at 30 minutes. So I will come back with a part 2 and share with you the rest of the cards that I got done for the SCT Craft and Create Delivered September version. Thank you so much for watching, and you have a great and a very blessed day.